While Congress plays the blame game over another government shutdown, Senator Dick Durbin took to the Senate floor and said what most politicians won't: this isn't about politics, it's about your health care. He called out Speaker Mike Johnson and House Republicans for being AWOL while millions of Americans face massive insurance hikes.
Mr. President.
Minority Whip.
Mr. President, I came to the floor a few minutes after Senator Thune, the Republican leader, spoke, and I missed part of his statement, but I think I heard most of it. I listened carefully to the statement by the senator from Wyoming, and let me say at the outset that I consider them both to be friends. We disagree on many things politically, but over the years I've come to work with both of them and look forward to doing that again someday. I was disappointed in both of their statements because of what was not said. How can you talk about the government shutdown without ever mentioning health care costs to American families? How can you do that? I mean, it's a situation where we understand, I hope, that the Democrats are not in this position for any reason other than to stop the dramatic increase in health care premiums that American families will face unless we do something and do it now. State after state, the notices are going out that the cost of health insurance for working families in America is going to go up dramatically, in some cases more than 100%. And that is going to be hurtful to many. They'll have to look for different health insurance plans that they can afford, which means more money out of pocket, or they're going to drop their health insurance coverage altogether. How can the Republican leaders stand before us and even refuse to acknowledge that that is the issue that drives this government shutdown? The Republicans are insisting on their approach to the budget because they don't want to see American families protected when it comes to these health insurance increases. And the increases are already being announced. 10 states so far have announced them. October 27th is the magic date, if you will, for the announcement in my state of Illinois. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to hear from hundreds, if not thousands, of families across my state that increasing the cost for families is creating a hardship they never anticipated. We believe on the Democratic side, this is the time to act now, to move together to stop these increases from taking place, because these increases were part of the big, beautiful Republican budget. The Trump budget, voted for by every Republican senator and no Democratic senators. The Trump budget, which of course he signed into law, that's what's leading to these increases, because the plans, the Affordable Care Act insurance plans, are no longer going to enjoy a subsidy, a tax credit to help families pay the premiums, and that's why the cost is going to go up so dramatically. We can change it. We can do it, but we have to do it quickly. We ought to move on it this week. I wish the House of Representatives were in session. They haven't shown up for 2 weeks. Speaker Johnson happens to believe that being AWOL is the right thing for his Republican members. I don't think it's the right thing for America. Democrats and Republicans should be in this Capitol negotiating, sitting at a table together. And the first item on the agenda has to be health care costs for American families. All this talk about dangerous game and radical left policies and management, it is not a radical left idea that a working family ought to have affordable health insurance. It is basic in America. As flawed as our health system is in this country, and as great as it is in many respects, if people cannot afford to have their coverage for their family, then hardship, it follows. That's the real reason. You say, well, what about the cost? Remember, this is an administration that wants to give $20 billion to Argentina. $20 billion this president's planning on giving. I'm worried more about 20 million Americans who will lose their health insurance if we don't do something and do it quickly. The American people get it. This issue has gone from the Beltway to the backyards of America. People know that this is coming, and they're worried about it, and they should be. They want us to do something, and they want it done now. And we are making the fight on this a continuing resolution because it is timely and we need bipartisan support to pass it. So let's do something positive in a bipartisan way. And dealing with the cost of health insurance is my approach that I would suggest.
Senator Dick Durbin's floor speech wasn't just another partisan jab, it was a wake-up call about priorities. While many in Washington are framing the government shutdown as just another budget standoff, Durbin pulled the curtain back to reveal what's really at stake: the crushing cost of health care for American families. He called out Speaker Mike Johnson and House Republicans for being, as he put it, AWOL, missing in action, while millions of families brace for skyrocketing insurance premiums. And he's right. Behind all the political noise, that's the real crisis here. In state after state, insurance companies are warning of hikes as high as 100%, meaning working families could see their premiums double overnight. Durbin points the finger at the Trump-era Republican budget, which stripped away key tax credits that had helped keep Affordable Care Act plans within reach for middle-class Americans. Without those supports, the math becomes brutal. People will either have to downgrade their coverage, pay more out of pocket, or lose their insurance altogether. Now think about what that means beyond the politics. We're talking about real families making impossible choices between paying rent or paying for health care, between staying insured or gambling that no one in the household gets sick. Durbin's frustration isn't just about policy, it's about responsibility. The Senate is here, the Democrats are here, but the House? They've gone home. He's accusing Speaker Johnson of abandoning his post at one of the most critical moments of the year, when both chambers should be locked in negotiation to keep the government running and to protect Americans from financial devastation. And his message cuts through the rhetoric. He's saying, stop calling affordable health care a radical idea. Stop pretending this is about partisan ideology. Affordable health coverage isn't socialism, it's survival. Durbin's speech reminds us that behind every government shutdown are people, workers, parents, and children who will bear the cost while politicians argue. It's a challenge to the Republican leadership, yes, but more than that, it's a moral statement. If you can't show up to protect the health of your citizens, what are you even in office for? And as Durbin warns, time is running out. The notices are already going out. The rate hikes are already being announced. For millions of Americans, this isn't politics, it's personal. This is what happens when leadership fails to lead. And Durbin is calling it exactly what it is: dereliction of duty. If you want breakdowns that cut through the spin and expose what's really driving these shutdown fights, not the talking points, but the stakes for ordinary people, make sure you're subscribed to Left Lens. We're not just watching politics, we're unpacking power.